Heartbreak for Derry City this evening in Tala as the Irish side crashed out of the Europa Conference League after losing 6-5 on penalties to Tobol Kostanay. A Brian Maher miss turned out to be the final penalty for the Candy Stripes, with Pavel Kirienko following the keeper to the spot and passing the ball into the bottom corner, eliminating Rory Higgins' side. Although Derry City were conscious of making their fans travel a long distance to Tala, a crowd of 3,128 was a strong showing for the travelling home fans. A frantic opening to the game saw Derry City almost open the scoring when Paul McMullen gathered a loose ball from a Derry City corner kick and jinked into the box. His chip delivery found the head of Jamie McGonigal, but the Derry number 9 could only head over the bar. After the beating Derry took physically last week, it is not surprising that Tobol came to Ireland with the same mentality and robust brand of football that is usually bandied at Irish sides. And the physicality would be Tobol's undoing in the 14th minute, as Michael Duffy looked like he had lost possession after a heavy touch inside the box, but a clumsy tackle from Ivan Rogic bailed the Derry winger out, and Derry had a penalty then. Will Patrick was tasked with taking the penalty, and after a little stutter in his run-up, the Derry midfielder coolly slotted the ball past Ivan Konalovov to put Derry ahead on the night, but more importantly, levelled the tie at 1-1 on aggregate. Tobol looked dangerous on the break after the goal, but the closest the Kazakh side came to scoring was an amazing run from their wide man, Igor Ivanovic, which ultimately ended in a failed corner for the visitors. McMullen had the opportunity to put Derry ahead in the tie with two chances within a space of a minute just after the break. Patrick McElhenney's first attacking involvement after coming on was to play McMullen in on goal and would have scored if not for the legs of Conor Valov. The ball would then come back to McMullen after a short passage of play, but his strike from outside the box was tame and saved easily. The second half sapped the life out of the two teams, with both sides tiring massively after the 75th minute. But Keane Kavanagh had a glorious chance to win the game just before the final whistle, but swiped at the shot, sending it well wide of the target. Extra time was scrappy, and neither side created a chance of note as the clock ticked over the 120-minute mark. And although Derry were subject to a few very tense moments, the game would be decided on penalties. The two sides matched each other blow for blow in the first 8 penalties, with Patrick McElhenney, Brandon Kavanagh, Danny Mullen, and Jordan McAniff converting their penalties. The 5th penalty looked like it would be taken by Keane Kavanagh, but when he was halfway to the spot, there seemed to be a mix-up in the order, and Ben Doherty stepped up for the final kick. Disaster struck as Doherty had his penalty saved by Konovalov and left the door open for Jovan Ilicic to win the game, but his penalty crashed against the bar. Keane Kavanagh would then step up to take his penalty and converted it, but it was matched by Bojan Mladovic. Brian Maher would take the 7th penalty for the Candy Stripes, but his penalty was saved by the Tobol goalkeeper. Pavel Kirienko had the opportunity to win the game for the second time, and this time he made no mistake, sending Tobol through to the qualifying round of the Europa Conference League. Final score in Tala: Derry City 1, Tobol Kostanay 0. Tobol Kostanay go through on penalties 6-5.